The history of the Greek community's involvement in Canberra has been immortalised in a book.
And a unique record of Canberra's Greek community through the generations.
And then celebrating the achievements of the Greek community in Canberra.
To pay justice to our pioneer settlers.
Canberra's Greek community is celebrating half a century in the ACT, a new publication highlighting their influence in the creation of the national capital.
Canberra's Greek community has a proud history. It was significant in the early expansion of Canberra and important projects in the region such as the Snowy Hydro scheme.
How much we owe to those who came in those early years.
To celebrate half a century in the Canberra district, a new publication detailing the history of Greeks in Canberra. The book, a collaborative effort.
The vast percentage of the community worked together and put forward and gave information, photos.
The Greeks in Canberra and the region capturing the essence of multiculturalism.
It captures the love of life, it captures the commitment to family, it captures the cultural pride, it captures the capacity for hard work.
The publication available now in bookstores. Richard Burgess, Win News.
And a unique record of Canberra's Greek community through the generations. A book chronicling the contribution of Greeks to the history of the ACT and surrounds has been launched at a gala occasion at the Hellenic Club.
Children in Greek costume lined the entrance to the Hellenic Club for the culmination of the 3-year project to write the book, A History of Greeks of Canberra and Districts. It tells of Greek migration before and after World War II, many moving from cafes to food stores and development. Here are early Canberran Greeks celebrating on Boxing Day 1949. The community has now grown to more than 6,000. MP for Kooyong, Petro Georgiou, launched the book.
If being a non-English speaking migrant was tough in the capital cities, it was much tougher in the small cities and in the regions.
It's been a 3-year labour of love for authors Professor Anastasio Tamas and Dr Dimitrios Soulakis.
This project was about building, block by block, an account of the thousands of lives of Greek migrants.
The Greek community contributed much of the information. Immigration Minister Philip Ruddock and Chief Minister Kate Carnell among the dignitaries at the launch.
The history of the Greek community's involvement in Canberra has been immortalised in a book. It details the impact the community has had on the territory and will serve as a permanent record. The history of the Greek community was compiled by Professor Tamas at La Trobe University and launched along with a moving historical video at the Hellenic Club last night. The book is dedicated to the people who established the Greek community in Canberra and aims to preserve their contribution for future generations.
Well, as I mentioned to you earlier, that's a trailer that Emmanuel Stefano is hoping to turn into a documentary series for transmission on Australian television and elsewhere. And he also said to me that he wants to put it in a time capsule so that it is a record of Hellenism in Canberra for future generations. And as a member of the Greek diaspora going back very many generations, probably 2,000 years, my ancestors lived in Asia Minor and the Black Sea. There's nothing that I would like more than to discover a time capsule that told me about their daily lives and their communities. Even one generation back, my grandmother's mother, but alas, it's not to be. So I think that this is a wonderful project and I wish him all the best. It's now my...
Hellenism is alive and well in Canberra, flourishing and developing ways that are unique not only to Australia, but to the rest of the world.
Πολύ καλά είναι εγώ, τι κάνεις. There was plenty of cake to go around during our birthday celebrations. It was a chance to reflect on the national capital's relatively brief history, from its beginnings as a sheep paddock to a thriving city home to more than 300,000 people from all walks and nations.
Canberra celebrated its 86th birthday today, with celebrations across the city to mark Foundation Day. Kate Carnell saw the parliamentary triangle from a different perspective this morning as she braved a helicopter joy flight on Canberra's 86th birthday.
The Canberra Festival celebrations move into top gear this weekend, with major events both Saturday and Sunday. This year's festival celebrating the city's 86th birthday and our multicultural diversity.
Hundreds of Orthodox Christians have celebrated their Easter in Canberra with a service at the Church of St Nicholas in Kingston.
It was a more sombre mood on Anzac Parade for the anniversary of the Battle of Crete.
The Hellenic Club celebrated its 20th birthday overnight and paid tribute to its original foundation members.
Birthday, Hellenic Club.
20 years and another 200.
And Canberra's Greek community raises thousands for a special Olympic tribute. And how Canberra's Greek community plans to make its mark on the Sydney Olympics. Well, it's hats off to the ACT Greek community tonight. They've raised an astonishing $65,000 in one night to go towards a special Sydney Olympic tribute.
Today we proudly celebrate and share our culture with Canberra. But it wasn't always so. This was the Greek community picnic filmed on Boxing Day in 1949. And at the Cotter River in 1950. Tonight we celebrate an important milestone in our history, the launch of the much anticipated History of the Greeks in Canberra and surrounding districts. We are honouring and celebrating the achievements of our forefathers, who stretch back thousands of years, who built the first great European civilization, yet we celebrate it in one of the newest capital cities of the world, Canberra. The early Greeks were here long before there was a Canberra. In fact, the first Greeks were transported as convicts, one of which willingly settled in the area. They were later followed by future generations that chose to leave Greece and the Greek-speaking world to settle and build a better life in Australia. To mark the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the official Greek community in Canberra, a special history book was commissioned to be researched and written by Professor Tamas and Demetrios Tsolakis from the National Centre for Hellenic Studies and Research at La Trobe University. 3 years ago, the call went out to every Greek or Greek descendant living in the district to submit their story. After lengthy meetings, comprehensive interviews, travelling all over the district, checking and cross-checking, it's finally finished.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's been a hard journey and a long road.
This outstanding publication is an important record for us as a community. It is based on fact, an historical record that honours those who came before us. All the material collected will go into the archives at La Trobe University and will be available to future generations as a rich resource for further study and publication. Naturally, a history book can never be the full story of all the people involved. History is a story of the leaders, the movers and shakers usually. It's not the story of the little people. Yet it is these little people that build cultures and civilisations and communities like we have here in Canberra today. They make it happen as they struggle to provide the blessings their children inherit. They take the risks and make the sacrifices. And to us, their children, they are the real heroes of history. This is why it's so important that we study and honour our history. We Hellenes have a long history, steeped in culture, tradition, blood, sweat and tears. A history of pain and suffering that rivals that of any other people. Greece has been right at the crossroads of the great historical civilisations. We have had a history of great achievements, of glory and of golden ages. We've contributed enormously to man's understanding of himself, the importance of family, and the building of a better society. Being at the crossroads was both a blessing and a curse, for it tested the survival skills of our ancestors and our culture. It's very hard for us today to imagine what it was like back then, but it was a very tough world they lived in. A question of either conquering or being conquered by your neighbours. During our so-called glory days, we conquered, later to fall under the Romans, then a rebirth under the Byzantines, followed by the ruthless Christian Crusaders, and what has probably affected us most of all, the Ottoman Empire. So how did our genes, and just as importantly, our culture survive and grow over the last 5,000 years? From the early days, our ancestors were great travellers. From their home base in Greece, the Greek tribes moved out to trade and settle throughout the Mediterranean, Asia Minor and the Black Sea. From the very beginning, they learnt the importance of being open to other civilisations, of taking new ideas and products, of refining and developing them for their own use before exporting them to other places. Soon, the world started looking to Greece for all the great new ideas in art, literature, science, sculpture, government by the people, and the list goes on and on. These legacies still affect us today. For example, the culture of sport is still being celebrated, and not just with the Olympic Games. Yet looking back now, probably Greece's best export was its people, because they carried the lessons learnt in Greece and applied them wherever they went. They were usually young people with a drive and determination to succeed in strange new lands with strange customs. Wherever they went, they got involved in the society they were living in, without ever forgetting their Greek roots and passing them on to their children. There are comparisons between these settlers and the ones that would follow thousands of years later to Australia and eventually to Canberra. They were young people without a lot of prospects in the homeland, yet they were ambitious to succeed. They followed their compatriots from the same areas to work in the industries and businesses that had already been established by other Greeks. They may not have been the best educated, but they had a street smarts about them, a confidence, a willingness to learn, grow and prosper. What they found, when they arrived full of hope, were not streets paved with gold. Australia was a tough place, and Australians were not welcoming these newcomers with open arms. In fact, quite the opposite. The only jobs they could get were with sponsors who owned the cafes. Later on, it was in the factories and on the building sites. Why was Australia so intolerant of the early Greek migrants, when all Australians were migrants, including the original people who arrived 40,000 years ago? We still experience this fear despite the fact that when we look back, the new migrants contributed enormously to the wealth and diversity of Australia. We Greeks can be very proud of what we've contributed to our new country, especially our home city of Canberra. When the early Greeks heard that they were going to build a new capital city, they saw the opportunities. After all, Greeks are great builders, not only of buildings and monuments, but of culture, of community, and of families. They were prepared to start with nothing but their bare hands and their enthusiasm, and work their way up from the very bottom to build a better life. Maybe they weren't successful in achieving all their dreams, which is, after all, the task of the following generations. That's why they put so much emphasis on education. They made so many sacrifices so that their families could benefit. In doing so, not only did their families benefit, but Canberra gained enormously as well. Many of the first and second Australian-born generation moved into medicine, the sciences, public service, law and teaching, as well as the arts, sports, the army and architecture. One of the great unifying forces of our Greek culture has been the Greek Orthodox Church. Through the church, we've been able to keep the spirit of our culture alive over the last 2,000 years, and especially during the 400-year Ottoman occupation. No wonder the early Greeks of Canberra put so much time, money and effort into building their very own church. They knew they had to be reminded that there was a better way for us as individuals, as families and as a community. It's easy for us first and second-born Greek Australians to take the church for granted, especially these days. Yet the collective wisdom of our elders teaches us that the church binds us together as a community. It connects us to our history, and that is what we pass on to our children. The values the church teaches helps us and our future generations to live a better, more productive life close to God. Today we have 2 churches in the area, with a third being built in Bateman's Bay, thanks to the Liangas family. It has been benefactors like these who have had the vision in the past to help complete these important community institutions we take for granted today. In Canberra, we've been blessed with many such people who have helped build other gathering places, such as the Hellenic Club of Canberra, unique in Australia, and a guide to all of us as to what can be achieved by working together. Another remarkable contribution has been the St. Nicholas Home for the Aged, as well as the Greek preschool in Yarralumna, Greek language classes, dancing classes and dancing groups. Yes, the Greek community is very active in Canberra thanks to all the people involved in the 40 or so Greek community organisations and brotherhoods that actively promote their culture and contribute to local charity, Australian as well as Greek. Over the years, Canberra-based Greek business people have been very actively building their businesses, mainly cafes and shops, and later, supermarkets. This led them into property developments, and as Canberra expanded, they built whole shopping centres, especially in the new suburbs. Today, we Greek Australians can take pride in what they have achieved and continue to do. Over the last few years, whilst money and jobs were going out of Canberra, they continued to invest, and even though they'd get better returns by investing elsewhere.
It's a bargain.
Another achievement that should be mentioned, though it is past and gone, is ShopRite supermarkets. What 5 corner store operators achieved is another lesson for us all. Against all odds, they beat the big national chains at their own game. In the process, they created their G&L warehouse and built one-stop supermarkets in the suburbs. They also influenced other local supermarket groups to be formed. The remarkable success of these businesses highlights one of the benefits that Canberra had to offer. Being such a young and small capital city, there were opportunities not found in bigger, well-established cities. Canberra's smallness allowed the development of close bonds between people. It was an excellent proving ground, a real-life university for business people. They learnt their lessons well to go on to bigger and better things. As students of modern times, they were able to apply themselves. As each succeeded to build, others were quick to follow. Canberra's growth during this time allowed them to grow and to get stronger. Mind you, there were some tough times and there were winners and losers. However, they're all winners because they all had a go. The legacy they have given us, their children, cannot be measured in dollars, for they have given us a golden opportunity in the best country in a troubled world, in the best city to bring up a family, the best education a parent can give, an excellent role model to live up to, and best of all, a real connection to our past and to their mother country, Greece. These roots connect us to all Greek-speaking cities of the world. Never in the history of our genes have we been so free to travel and communicate, connect to our distant relatives and friends. Unfortunately, many of our fellow Australians have lost their connection with their past and their roots. The challenge before each of us is to make sense of it all, to honour our past and do something about our future. Australia and Canberra have been good to us. In early days, the first Greek settlers married mainly Irish women because there were no Greek women. The next batch married Greek women because they wanted to keep their culture alive, and has been the dream of many Greek families that their children marry someone of their own kind. But today, almost 65% are mixed marriages. This new infusion of genetic history will dilute the Canberra Greeks of the future, or it could take Hellenism where it's never been before. I personally believe it will add a rich tapestry, a diversity that will be unique in its own way, but will honour the heritage and meaning of Hellenism as it lights up the world of the future. You can see it shining brightly on the faces of the newest members of the community. Their history is still in the future, yet to be written. I do, however, have one concern about these wonderful community assets we have inherited. Now that we have them, what will we do with them? Will a preschool survive if only a few parents send their kids along? And what about the Greek language classes? The same goes for St. Nicholas Home for the Aged. Will the Greek community of the future be willing to support the care of the aged? And who will replace all the hard-working committee people who have done so much to enrich our Hellenic culture in Canberra? Will the next generation get involved, or will they leave it to others like so many of us do now? This history book being launched tonight is only the first chapter. It's up to each of us to write our own history, to make our own impression, to make our own contribution to the community we want our children to live in. This book is a timely reminder to make the most of our opportunities and the setbacks we're sure to encounter, just as our parents and their parents did before them. The Canberra Greek community can be very proud of their history, and every family should have a copy of this remarkable record of achievement, especially now as we move into the next century and the next millennium. And after reading it, we may ask ourselves, what will I do? How will I contribute? And how will the future generations judge our actions? Zito to ethnos, Zito to Canberra. Yes, I'm an Australian Greek, and I'm proud to call Canberra home. This video that I'm working on here is the first baby step, the first little step towards marketing ourselves, the Canberra Greek community, to Australia and to the rest of the world. But first, we must market to the Canberra Greek community. First, we have to give ourselves a new image. First, we have to build on what's already been established and take it the next step further. It's time to work together for the future. It's time to pull together. It's time to show unity. Though this video will look at our past achievements, it will be very much directed at the future, our youth and their children. Though we will honour 5,000 years of cultural history developed in Greece and other places, I plan to concentrate on how Hellenism has taken root in Canberra, and it'll be very much directed to the next 100 years. That's 3 to 4 generations away. I believe Canberra Hellenism is different to Hellenism developed in other places of the world, as it has an Australian flavour, specifically a Canberra flavour. The first video will be directed to the Canberra Greek community, and it will tell the story over the last 12 months leading up to the book launch in September. It will acknowledge the achievements of the community, individuals, both the super achievers and the so-called little people, groups and businesses. The first video will not represent views of the official Greek community, though of course they will be included. It will be my own personal view, from the heart. The mission is to bring everybody together. In one word, unity. I hope it will motivate and inspire people, especially the young people, to get involved in making their contribution. I'm not interested in politics in any shape or form. All I'm interested in is in capturing a positive image of Greek people here in Canberra and surrounding areas, what they have achieved individually and by working together. Essentially, it is an image-building campaign, and I hope unique in the world today. The first stage of this marketing campaign has been made possible by the financial support of Tom and Tim F. Capitas. Michael Leonis, Consilias, Michael Kuporitsis, Philip Christolouvan, the Chief Minister, Kate Carnell. But I need to get the support of more people, especially those that have the vision of what could be achieved. Hopefully I'll get the support of some of the old ShopRite members, as I want to do for the Canberra Greek community what we did with ShopRite supermarkets, which was to build their image from 5 corner store operators to the mighty ShopRite chain, unique to Canberra. I'll also approach the Hellenic Club, the Arts Council of Australia, SBS, and anyone else who wants to be involved in promoting a unique form of Hellenism to the world. Thank you very much.
My name's Emily Poulas and I loved it. Great achievement, and it's very, very exciting for all of us, and I'm very proud to be here tonight.
The video was amazing. It's I think the word for it's time capsule. I think it defines our culture. I think it just gives a pictorial something that really can't be given words. You have to see it. I think it's invaluable.
I thought tonight was absolutely fantastic. It's a great achievement for the Greek community.
They unite as one. I'm very proud to be a part of that. I'm trying to get more actively involved in the Hellenic Club at present.
I was very impressed. I was very encouraged that something like that would happen here. It's something that we've needed for a long time. A bit of a social consciousness.
But I must honestly say that I'm very proud of the Greeks that have gone before us, and for those that have provided us with what we have today. So thank you.
The video is fantastic, very innovative and creative. It's good to see such inspiration from Emmanuel Stefano. I felt really happy, so happy that I was about to start crying because it makes you really proud of where you've come from, and especially what your parents go through to sort of grow, bring you up and sort of keep the traditions and all the Greek language, and hopefully I can do that for my kids as well. And it was good. It was a good feeling. Loved it.
This evening was very educational.
Hopefully everyone got the message from tonight's video and became inspired from what Emmanuel is attempting to undertake.
I thought it was fantastic.
Well, the video was great. It actually could relate to a lot of it, knowing of people's background, so it was good.
It's about the Canberra Greek community, and it said a lot about them and stuff I didn't really know, so it's good. Educational.
Very educational.
Great. Yeah, Manuel did a wonderful job. Great. Good luck, team.
I enjoyed it very much. Yes. It was heartwarming, and of course, documented all the activities that the Greek have been doing here in Canberra.
Fantastic.
It was quite comprehensive and very informative. It was very good.
It had a nice sense of history about Canberra and the people in Canberra, and the visuals were very interesting.
It was very well done. However, I've seen lots of Manuel's films and I know his talents.
Fantastic. Very well done. Very professional. I enjoyed it.
Very interesting. Very good, yeah.
Enjoyed the video. It was fantastic. Good way to remember our roots and our past.
The video, I thought it was great, but especially at the end how he actually said about all this is great, but we have to carry it on, such as like what he said at the end about the Greek preschool. We have to continue sending our kids to the Greek preschool to continue it on. The Greek school, you have to carry on, and I thought that was excellent.
An example of what the Greek community can do when they're united, and they have a purpose. The common purpose is to maintain our culture, to maintain our traditions, and to make a community where we can move ahead into the next century. We've seen snippets of our history. We have seen examples of Greeks that have been very successful. We've been together, united in a good way to ensure that establishments such as the Greek community, the Greek associations and the Hellenic Club can continue to prosper and indeed grow and assimilate into the wider Australian and ACT community. So above all, I think it's a credit to everybody here tonight, and there's a real purpose and a real need. So I think I need to congratulate everybody concerned.
Thanks to see the series. Let's hope he gets it off the ground.
The video was a pleasure to watch. It was good to see the snippets of information that have gone on through the years, the historic footage, the family footage, and other interesting items that were on the video. It's a credit to the Greek community to come up with such an interesting pictorial document.
Yeah. Very touching and moving. Great experience. Brought back memories.
That's very good.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. Like, I thought it was like, I didn't think like people would come so early.
Good for the Greek community, and said a lot of things about how strong they've been for Canberra and so on and so forth. I thought it was very good. It was very moving.
It was good to see everyone and what they've gone through to get to where we are today.
Yeah.
It was good. I'd like to see it go to fruition and have it really happen. I think it'd be a worthwhile experience to have a full video and really showing in detail what happened, because it's a very, very important part of our history.
Very well done. I thought it was great. It's a good representation of what Greeks in Canberra have done.
I think it was fantastic. We've obviously put a lot of work into it. I think it's, in some ways, I think it's better to have the film because more people, I think, respond to visual entertainment rather than beautiful. It's a lovely collection of the history of Canberra and Greeks. It's very well put together. Enjoyed it.
Entertaining. It was lots of things. It was very good.
Saw things that we've never seen before, and I'd like to see a bigger version of it actually.
It was very, very good in such a way, and it was also great to see all the individuals up there on the screen and being recognised for the contribution that we've made to Canberra and to Australia. Oh, it was great. Very good. My sister was in it. She was the one on the donkey.
I've got my piece of paper to put in. Where's the box that I put my paper in?
I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty exciting actually, the way they got all our ancestors and things and all the performances that we did on the film. I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought it was really good because I don't do anything with the TV, like so, like Canberra, how it is, putting together all the Greeks.
It was quite good. It was very good, very interesting, and it's going to be a good experience reading the book, I think. So
I was very emotional because I saw a lot of people who weren't here today, and a lot of friends and family, and it just shows how an event like this can bring us all together, and encompasses all the years of hard work and love that we have for our way of life. So the film was very well put together by Manuel Stefano. So I just hope everyone here can appreciate and continue on great effort.
I got very nostalgic because I no longer live in Canberra. It's a real credit to the community.
I thought the film was terrific, but it was not enough. We need more, and that's why I hope this project's going to come off, because as I said earlier tonight, there's nothing that I would have liked more than to discover in a time capsule something that documented the life experiences of my forefathers and foremothers. So it's going to be something to treasure in future generations.
It's not just the Greek community that film is important to.
I think that just makes us think what we young will produce in the future. So hopefully we'll be able to
and something as fantastic as Mr. Tsuya.
It was a prelude to a couple of series of films that they're going to make. So it's interesting to see. It would be interesting to see the final compilation.
It was wonderful. Beautiful, very nice. Very good. It was a very enjoyable night.
Very well put together. It showed my parents when they were here. My father was one of the original ones. He came in 1927. So he was on that green bus from. He was on the bus, on that picnic at the Cotta.
Απόψε ήταν πολύ ωραία, ευχαριστητικά πάρα πολύ. Γιατί ακούσαμε ωραία πράγματα και θυμηθήκαμε τα παλιά μας. Ήταν very nice, very nice.
I think tonight it's a great success. Tonight it was very historic for the Greeks, and I like it.
Very nice. And we congratulate all of them, the organizers. It's very, very nice. And all Canberra Greeks, they should be very proud.
It was very nice. Yeah, I like it.
Όλα αυτά είμαστε όλοι μέσα. Και έτσι έχουμε αναμνήσεις ωραίες. Μ' αρέσει πολύ το film.
The film was really good. It's very nostalgic.
It's very good. I was quite happy.
Very interesting.
The film was great. It was absolutely beautiful. Excellent.
Yeah? Very nice.
Very good. Most enjoyed.
So we both had a very good night tonight. It was a very good lunch, and I'm sure we will remember it for the rest of our lives.
Very nice. Memories. A lot of memories.
I liked it very much. I thought some parts of it were quite moving.
Congratulations. I didn't hear quite. I said congratulations. I said I was going to say one thing. You know, the last time we both were in we talked a lot of things to each other. So I'm very proud of you. This is excellent. And I tell you, this is excellent. And what else?
Another question, and what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
It's going to continue.
But what are you going to do?
Part of it.
Marketing manager?
You need it.
I do.
Cried. I was very emotional. I thought it was beautiful. Really good.
Well done. Well done.
Do you think it was good for the Home Club to be supporting this sort of exercise or not?
I think so.
What's all right? Oh, good.
So we're getting hit. Only 5. And your father would buy 10.
Why was it good? In what ways to be longer?
You saw more and that.
I thought the film was great because it had some very old footage of, like an uncle of mine who's dead, and an aunt, and some old people that I remember when I was a kid. And I think the film was excellent.
It's wonderful.
I think it was excellent.
Why?
Because I think the going back to 1949. I think that was incredible. I didn't even know there was a movie camera to take such a film. So I thought that was excellent. And I think the way Manoli puts it, I think was absolutely wonderful.
It was very nice. That was an excellent film. Very enlightening.
Excellent, beautiful. Very impressed and brings back lots and lots of memories.
It's excellent. It was very well put together, and Manuel did a very good job.
Oh, it's very good. Very, very good.
In what way?
In every way. You can imagine.
It was magnificent. And the evening is beautiful, and we're very proud of everything.
Very, very much.
Καληνύχτα σας. Γεια σας.
Why?
Because we are Greeks, and we deserve it.
It was really nice, very interesting, all of them. Yeah, very nice, very happy. I am very happy, very nice. She's the mother of the president.
That's great. It's very interesting.
Why was it interesting?
For me, because I'm not Greek, so it's interesting to see her culture.
Well, I'm
very happy tonight.
Yes.
For what's happened here. It shows that we Greeks here in Canberra can produce something, because after nearly 100 years we've integrated and become Australians. And this book is dedicated to all our pioneer settlers that come here in this country before and showed the right way for us to assimilate.
And how long did it take you to put this project together?
3 years I've been fighting that is, and my time, personal time, I would have put 1 year into it, of running around and trying to get the best I could for the Canberra people and the Greeks of Canberra.
Well done.
I've travelled everywhere with a historian. Money meant nothing. I personally knocked and achieved about 108,000 of the whole cost of 114,000, but all the money's going back to charity. All the sales are going back to charity. It is an honour that we are being honoured here tonight by everybody.